This is a channeling from Adama on the goddess Isis and her teachings, or her energetic curriculum, shall we say. Now, before we delve into her energetic curriculum, I would like to first discuss who goddess Isis is and who she is rumored to be versus who she is in her true form. So, goddess Isis, in the way that she is understood by the majority of humans incarnated in the third dimension, is a fictional goddess from Egyptian mythology who is traditionally viewed as having a set of angular wings protruding from her back. And although this may be a somewhat apt visual representation, I shall not say accurate, however, it is appropriate. This may be also considered not a complete picture, for goddess Isis is more than she is rumored to be in Egyptian mythology. Now, this channel has worshipped the goddess Isis in two separate forms in two separate previous lifetimes. And one of these lifetimes was in ancient Egypt, and she worshipped goddess Isis as she was known in ancient Egypt. And in ancient Egypt, she was known as the Cosmic Mother. Now, this channel has also worshipped the goddess in another lifetime as a Celtic priest in modern-day Great Britain. In fact, she did indeed live at the Tor in Glastonbury for a while. Or perhaps not at, but around the area, and frequently visited the Tor in that previous lifetime. And indeed, in this previous lifetime, she did also know the true intentions of Stonehenge and many other wonders of the world. However, that is slightly irrelevant and was merely an answer to a question that she just asked me. But in this previous lifetime, as a Celtic high priestess, she worshipped the goddess Isis under the name the Goddess, or a word that roughly translates to the All-Mother. And so in this way, if you hear me refer to the All-Mother, the goddess Isis, or Isis, then you will, or the Cosmic Mother, then you will know that I am talking about the same being. For the goddess is very multifaceted. Now, that being said, I would like to delve into some of the facets of our beloved goddess. So, first of all, our goddess is, as always, magnanimous and benevolent, and quite loving and nurturing and caring. However, you may find that she is also quite a hard ass, as this channel would say. And indeed, this channel did learn that firsthand today when the goddess asked her to engage in a mild sort of cold plunge in order to receive an energetic offering. However, as always, this sacrifice was returned in full, and quite a little bit more than that as well, for the nature of this offering was quite profound. was quite profound. However, I will speak more on this later, for that is a part of the curriculum that Goddess Isis offers to the humans on Earth. But that being said, Goddess Isis is indeed considered a form of the Great Mother, the Mother of all, and she is a vast part of the spirit of the Creator. And perhaps she is considered the Ba of the feminine part of our Creator, for she is among one of the first intelligences, the first souls, the first consciousnesses that was birthed by our Source and Creator. And indeed, she has ascended to the highest known levels and the highest possible levels of knowing. But that being said, there are other beings like her as well. However, we will delve into those other beings as they arise in this channel's practice, or as they arise in the practices of those around her. For indeed, these channelings are based primarily on necessity of this channel and those in her immediate atmosphere. But that being said, one may connect to the goddess in many different ways, and one may connect to her by connecting to the energy of the moon. If they are in a female body, they may connect to the energy of their menstrual cycle and connect to the energy of Goddess Isis. And perhaps any form of connection with divine feminine energy may be a way to connect with the goddess herself. And indeed, Goddess Isis is a divine spirit, a divine being, a form of a Holy Spirit. So if you have a Christian background, you may indeed find that Goddess Isis's energy feels rather similar to the energy of the Holy Spirit in the Christian church. For that is indeed a Holy Spirit, however, it is of a much more masculine nature, and that is not perhaps bad in and of itself, but indeed the church has done quite some wicked things with the imbalanced masculine energy. But again, that is neither here nor there, and that is a topic for another time. Now, Goddess Isis's energy is associated with the violet flame energy and also a little bit with the indigo flame energy as well. However, that is just a mere touch, for Goddess Isis is primarily Goddess Isis's consciousness is primarily encompassed by the violet flame energy, by the bandwidth of violet flame energy. And so, indeed, you may picture her aura as this color. And if you feel access to Goddess Isis's energy, then you may picture it as this color as well. But that is not to say that she may not take on any other colors, for indeed she may, and that depends primarily on the manner in which she is working with one, and as always will depend on the individual and the unique situation. So that being said, do not lock yourself into the box of thinking that Goddess Isis's energy is purely of the violet color, for this is not always the case. But no need to beat a dead horse, as they say, I guess. So I shall continue on, and if anyone has a deeper desire to know more about Goddess Isis and to connect further with her energy, they may, of course, ask Goddess Isis directly about herself, and they may always reach out to me as well, Adama, that is. And of course, the good old-fashioned Google search will provide a wealth of information, some of which may be false and some of which may be accurate. So as always, when looking through modern day media for spiritual information, you must use your own intuition and consult guidance if necessary to determine which information is correct and which information is false. However, now I would like to speak on the curriculum of Goddess Isis, and this is known in the Magdalene manuscript as the initiation of Goddess Isis. And indeed, there are initiations of many other gods and goddesses. However, we shall start with this one, for it, as I have said, it is prevalent to this channel's life at this moment. Now, one may become... perhaps I shall explain the overarching structure of this curriculum before I will explain the nitty-gritty details of how one may embark along this curriculum. So there are a few different, shall we say, levels to this curriculum, and we shall picture them in a linear sense. So the lowest level, the beginner level, shall we say, is that of the initiate with a lowercase I. Now, an initiate with the capital I refers to any being who is at any stage of this curriculum. So if one is an initiate with a lowercase I, then they are also an initiate with an uppercase I. And if they are perhaps the level of a priestess, which is the second level, then they are also still an initiate, and so on and so forth for the higher levels as well. But that being said, the second level, as I have said, is the level of the priestess. And the third level is the level of the high priestess. And the fourth level is the level of the incarnate. And then the fifth level is the level of both the incarnate and the high priestess in one. So in that manner, the third and the fourth levels, so that is the high priestess and the initiate, are mutually exclusive until one has reached the fifth level. And upon the fifth level, this is when one may experience the closest relationship with Goddess Isis. However, it is indeed extremely rare for one to achieve this level of relationship, and it has only been accomplished once or twice on this earth before. However, it is our endeavor that it shall happen again soon. But that being said, in order to become an initiate of the beginner level, one need only express to Goddess Isis their desire to become an initiate, and then to live from a place of love, or at least attempt to live from a place of love. For as I have said, Goddess Isis is magnanimous, and so she holds space for our faults, despite her constant efforts to push us beyond our comfort zones. So that being said, if you find yourself struggling with lessons and repeating patterns, do not worry yourself with feelings of unworthiness, for Goddess Isis will accept you as you are, no matter your shortcomings, and she only requests that you enter with an open heart and an open mind. And so this is how one may begin their initiation. And at this first level, one may indeed experience Goddess Isis providing them with a little bit of guidance here and there. However, at this point, most of the work may be done on their own, or may need to be done on their own. For at this point, one is still proving their mettle to Goddess Isis. For she must see that you are worthy of receiving these higher frequencies and understanding and comprehending this higher knowledge, or perhaps worthy is not quite the right word, but capable is the better word. For if Goddess Isis were to bestow these energies and knowledges onto one who is not capable or quite ready for it, then they may experience a slew of negative effects, from physical discomfort to manic episodes to even depression or many other undesirable outcomes. So all of these trials, shall we say, are put in place not as a set of games and hoops to jump through, but as a set of preparations and strengthening exercises for one to be able to accept the higher vibrational frequencies and the higher knowledges that come with walking this path. But that being said, those who are much more sensitive to the higher realms in this way may find that Goddess Isis is much more present in their lives at this point than those who are not as sensitive. For indeed, Goddess Isis will be watching over them, but not interacting, and those who are more sensitive may be able to feel Goddess Isis's presence watching over them, whereas those who are not as sensitive may not be able to feel this, since she will not be interacting with them directly at this point. Unless, of course, there is an extenuating circumstance in which, of course, if Goddess Isis feels it is necessary, she will indeed reach out. And after this initiate has proven that they are worthy of receiving Goddess Isis's blessing, then they may undergo their formal initiation that will allow them to move from an initiate with a lowercase I to a priest or a priestess. Now, indeed, one may experience many smaller trials, which may also be known as initiations, during their period as an initiate with a lowercase I. However, these initiations, these smaller initiations that they will experience, will be perhaps a more of a breaking of patterns and releasing of karma than it will be anything else. For indeed, one must have fully opened their heart in order to be able to accept the high vibrational frequencies that come with being a priest or a priestess of the goddess. And when one has reached the time of this initiation, this final initiation to be completed, then, or perhaps final is not the right word, but this final initiation into priesthood or priestesshood, they will know because Goddess Isis will call them to a specific location. And for this channel, it was a specific waterfall near her. And when she went there, she underwent a form of baptism from Goddess Isis. However, I would like it to be noted that this baptism for her was quite uncomfortable in many different ways, and this was intentional. So this may not be the case for So being called to a waterfall in this way may not be the case for everyone who undergoes this initiation, but the underlying theme will be that of discomfort and a baptism from the goddess that washes away attachment to this discomfort. And for this channel, it was fear and anxiety, but for each individual person, it may differ depending on who it is. And indeed, for about half of the people who undergo this initiation, it will most likely involve water. However, that will not be the case for all, so if you are not drawn towards a body of water when your time comes around for this initiation, please do not doubt yourself and do not doubt the goddess, for this is a message from her, and when you doubt yourself in this message, you also doubt the goddess. So stand fast in your intuition and your claircognizance, if you will. However, you may not always receive this message purely claircognizantly. So that is just a metaphorical term in this sense. But that being said, once one has undergone this initiation and they have become a priest or priestess of the goddess, they may find themselves shooting through the vibrational frequencies at a pace faster than ever before. For not only will they now have Goddess Isis's energy fully present in their body at almost all times, or perhaps not fully present, but fully available to them at all times, but they will also have just had their energy body blown wide open and their consciousness immensely expanded by the offering from Goddess Isis in the form of the baptism. And indeed, this channel has experienced that already, and it is it may be quite uncomfortable at times, and indeed, it might feel quite ungrounding, and ungrounding is the only really apt word I can think of to describe this feeling. But yes, it will feel very ungrounded and very flowy and loosey-goosey and all of those other terms that lack structure. For indeed, there will be more energy flowing through the body at this point, and one must learn how to control this, and this will come with time, usually over a period of a few days to a couple weeks. However, if one is able to engage in meditation every day, as this channel will tomorrow, they may find that this influence may be more passing. So the more time you can be present with this feeling of ungroundedness and attempt to ground yourself in it, then the quicker that you will find it passes. But thus is the nature of ungroundedness, so this should not come as a shock to anyone. But that being said, along with this increased available energy, one may experience increased abilities of the higher and lower faculties, but especially of the higher faculties. So for example, this channel has noticed that her clairaudience has come more so online, and indeed earlier today she was able to channel bits and pieces of messages there we go, of messages from the goddess. However, this was not voice channeling, so there will be no recording of it. But that's not to say that this will not occur in the future, for indeed, Goddess Isis does have plans for this channel. However, we will speak more on that in a minute. Now, as for the other changes that one may experience when they come into the second level of initiation into priesthood or priestesshood, they may also find that the goddess's energy is available to them at all times, and they may perceive this as this channel does, as a violet column of energy that encompasses their spinal cord around the energy column of their own energy body. That perhaps is not the most eloquent phrasing of that concept, but the message is still comprehensible, so I shall not waste effort rephrasing. But that being said, there are many different ways in which one may experience this energy, so as always, do not doubt yourself and merely go with whatever visualization comes easiest to you. Now, in this, one may tap into this energy and know that the goddess Isis is listening to them. However, unless they are actively tapped into this energy, then the goddess will not be present with them, nor will she be actively watching over them. For indeed, our goddess is a very busy goddess, and she does not watch over each of her individual initiates of the lower initiations unless they are actively reaching out to her. And please know that if you are actively reaching out to her, whether you are an initiate or not, the goddess will always heed your call, and if it is possible, she will answer your prayer. But that being said, after one has fully gained control of their higher and lower faculties and are able to harness the energy that they have been gifted by Goddess Isis during this first initiation, then they may undergo their second initiation. And in this second initiation, they may make the transfer from priest or priestess to high priest and high priestess. And indeed, I, Adama, am what is considered a high priest of Isis. For when I was incarnated on Earth, when I was incarnated on the three-dimensional Earth, I did indeed follow the path of Goddess Isis. However, it was very, very different from the path as it is now, for our civilizations were very different, and the ways in which we underwent these initiations varied due to the ways in which our societies differed. However, that is neither here nor there. And I merely state that to provide you with more information on who exactly I am and why I have authority to speak on these subjects. But that being said, this channel is indeed being groomed, shall we say, despite the negative connotation with that word, for this position of High Priestess of Isis. Now, in order for one to achieve this position, as I have said, they must be able to fully harness the energy that Goddess Isis gifted them during their first initiation into priest or priestesshood. However, they must also have fully grasped the gravity of the situation on Earth at the moment, and they must have fully committed themselves to doing everything they can to help the collective as a whole ascend to the higher realms. And indeed, this is no easy path, for this is a path of constant sacrifice of the personal manner. And indeed, one may feel that they are constantly draining their cup only to fill it back up again and drain it again. But of course, if one chooses to engage in this path and go through the initiation into high priesthood and priestesshood, then they may find that the divine will constantly be really refilling their cup for them. So this will be a positive feedback loop where the more a high priest or high priestess helps others, the more they find themselves recharged and invigorated and fulfilled. And thus is the nature of equivalent exchange. But that being said, the initiation from priesthood and into high priesthood and priestesshood is indeed one of a less physical nature than the first initiation is. So many may find that they are called to undergo a form of intense plant medicine, such as an ayahuasca ceremony or a mushroom ceremony with a large dose. And indeed, this may be a sort of, shall we say, reverse shamanic ritual, in which one goes into the spirit realm or their own psyche and fully clears away any of the remaining blockages. And then once these blockages are fully cleared, they will have a face-to-face conversation with the goddess. And they will find that this may indeed be a slightly terrifying and trippy experience, but it will indeed allow for their consciousness to be expanded to even higher vibrational frequencies. And so they will find themselves again gifted with more of Goddess Isis's energy. And when one has completed this initiation and found themselves as a high priest or a high priestess, they may now find that all of the previous gifts from the first initiation have been amplified tenfold, or perhaps more or less, but tenfold is just a number. Just throwing a number out there. But that being said, once one has reached high priesthood and high priestesshood, they may find that they will have a constant dialogue available to them with the goddess. For the goddess watches very carefully over all of her high priests and high priestesses, for these are the beings with whom she is able to fully work through. So in this way, a high priest or priestess of Isis may find themselves walking down the street in a city, and they may see someone who perhaps catches their eye for no random reason, and they may find themselves drawn to this person. And then when they find themselves drawn to this person, they may find that the goddess gives them a message for this person. And so this may be a way in which the goddess works through people. Or occasionally the goddess may even perform healing through one of her priests or her high priests or high priestesses. However, this is a little bit rare and usually reserved for the high priests and high priestesses who are about to undergo their third initiation. And in this third initiation, one makes the jump from the high priest or high priestess to the incarnate. And in this way, one becomes a conduit or a channel for goddess Isis. So in order for one to make this next level up into incarnate from high priest and high priestess, one must have been able to fully embody the energy that goddess Isis gave them in their second initiation, and of course they must gain control of their newly resensitized higher and lower faculties. And indeed, they may also find themselves needing to connect with more people, and they will find themselves being drawn to put themselves in more situations where they may be able to help others. And in this way, goddess Isis will see their commitment and know that they are ready to ascend to the next level of their initiation, which is the incarnate. Now, there have been a few very notable incarnates in this earth, on this earth, and two of them have been Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary. Now, it may be noted that in the Magdalene manuscript, Mary Magdalene did not refer to herself as an incarnate, and this is because we have slightly changed the wording used to better suit our definitions. So, indeed, there may be slight differences in this. But please note, this is a difference of semantics and not a difference of meaning and intention. But that being said, when one reaches this fourth level of incarnate, one may find themselves even further increased in their ability to access the goddess, and they may find themselves able to act as a channel to the goddess. And occasionally they may find themselves even fully blacking out from their consciousness, only for the goddess to take full control of their form and enact through them. However, this is reserved for incarnates of a very high stage. Now, in this way, in this stage, one may also find that they are able to fully embody and channel their own Merkaba field and their own higher and lower faculties. And indeed, this will be as a direct result of their work with the goddess. For in order for the goddess to be able to incarnate in one's body temporarily in this way, they may indeed need to be able to first allow their own higher self to incarnate in their physical form. So it is a sort of preparation, if you will, or prerequisite, if you will, that one must be able to fully embody their own higher self before they are able to act as an incarnate for the goddess Isis. But of course, that is what all of the previous initiations are for, preparation for the next one. For as I have said, each of these initiations is less of a trial and a measurement of one's mettle, and more of a measurement of one's growth and a check to make sure that they can handle the next level and the vibrational frequencies associated with that level. Now, that being said, when one has been able to fully embody this fourth level of incarnate, then they may find that they are able to ascend to a fifth level that very, very few beings have been able to ascend to on this earth, and one of whom is Mother Mary. However, Mary Magdalene was not able to ascend to this level due to the nature of her soul path. So this is what she was referring to in the Magdalene manuscript, and this is where our wordings differ. So we shall call this fifth level the High Incarnate. For I feel it follows a similar or a good enough pattern to make logical sense. So for a quick refresher, our levels from lowest to highest are the initiate with a lowercase I, the priestess, the high priestess, the initiate, and the high initiate. The incarnate and the high incarnate. This channel received those words clairvoyantly and misread them, as she frequently does. Oopsies. Maybe a little dyslexic over here, but that's okay. Indeed, it keeps us on our toes. But that being said, when one reaches the level of high incarnate, they may find that they will have a constant stream of access to the goddess, even more so than before. So when one is a high incarnate, it will be as if they have two souls incarnate in their physical form at once. And that will be their own soul, their own higher self that is original to this body. And it will also be the soul of the goddess, or at least a part of the soul of the goddess that chooses this form to incarnate in. Now, this is extremely rare for two reasons. And the first reason is, of course, that there are very few beings whose physical bodies can physically handle the energy of the goddess in this way. And so many beings, no matter how powerful or sensitive they may be, usually cap out, shall we say, at the fourth level of the incarnate. But there are some beings, such as Mother Mary, who are able to ascend to this higher level. And that is because of this second reason, and that is the purity of their soul and of themselves in this incarnation. So the more pure that one's soul is, and the more pure that one's consciousness is in this incarnation, then the higher vibrational frequencies and the more vibrational frequencies that their physical body is able to encompass. So in this way, one who is closed-hearted, and not pure of heart may not ascend to this 5th level. But just because one is pure of heart and open-hearted does not mean that one may ascend to this level if their physical body is not capable of allowing these high vibrational frequencies. And indeed, it does take quite a bit of work and preparation for one's physical body to be able to handle these high vibrational frequencies. And although it is hoped that this channel will be able to achieve this 5th level in this incarnation, it is up in the air still, for her nervous system is quite dysregulated at the moment. However, she is making great leaps and bounds towards regulating it, and once this is done, we will then have a better estimate of whether or not she will be able to achieve this in this lifetime. However, considering the current rate at which she is traveling and her current trajectory, it is seeming that it will be more likely than not that she will be able to achieve this 5th level. However, it indeed may not occur for many, many years yet to come, and as always, will happen in divine timing. Now, that being said, there are many different reasons that the goddess has chosen this channel for this endeavor, considering that there has not been a high initiate on this earth for a very long time. And this channel would like to note that it makes her uncomfortable to speak of these things, for it feels as if she is bragging. However, I would like to point out, Adama that is, that these are not her words, and she is not speaking these. And indeed, I have spoken with Goddess Isis about these, so these are not only my words, but they are also the goddesses as well, and are not the words of the channel. So she need not feel this guilt or shame. Jeez, Adama, just call me out on all my emotions right there. That's cool. That's fine. Indeed, you're welcome. Jeez, Adama got sarcastic. But that being said, her humility is indeed one of the reasons that she was chosen for this, for it will help keep her grounded in the higher vibrational frequencies and will help allow her to keep her head on straight and maintain her clarity of thought. Now, that being said, she is also a walk-in soul, and both of her separate souls that combined into one are of a very high vibrational frequency. So that means that once she has allowed her nervous system to regulate to the high vibrational frequency of her two souls that have combined into one, then she may find that it is less of a stretch for her than it is for most people to accommodate the energy of the goddess Isis. So in this way, she may not only accommodate more of the energy and channel more of the goddess's energy, but she may also find herself embodying the goddess more frequently than other incarnates have previously. And when she achieves, or if she achieves the level of high initiate, then she will find that she and the goddess seem to merge and work as one, and it will seem that it will feel as if her will and the goddess's will have become one. For that is indeed the goal of this work for her. For when the goddess is able to fully embody in a physical form, she is not only able to act as a sort of energetic beacon or energetic radiator that puts off high vibrational frequencies that affect those merely in her presence, even without interacting. But the goddess may also perform much more physical work in this way, and she may even perform what may be seen as miracles of healing and of other such manners as are spoken of in many of the various tales of the Ascended Masters, including Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, but also many others. So indeed, when one is able to fully embody the energy of the goddess Isis, it is almost guaranteed that they will be able to become an Ascended Master level soul after this incarnation. And indeed, that was the intention of this channel's Arcturian soul when she chose to walk into this incarnation, for she knew that it would be a high possibility for her in this lifetime. And indeed, she has seized the opportunity with much gusto. But that being said, this opportunity is indeed available to everyone, perhaps not to reach this 5th level, but certainly to reach this 4th level. For the goddess will turn down no being that is able to pass her initiations with love and light. And so, if you feel drawn to engage in this path, you may indeed connect with the goddess Isis in any way that you see fit. So for this channel, it was learning more about the goddess Isis and then simply meditating and attempting to connect with her energy. And of course, as always, one must hold space for themselves when they attempt to connect with a being with whom they have not connected before, for this may take time, and it may be easiest to engage in some sort of a ritual or a chant or a way of focusing one's consciousness onto that being. So this may be, as I have said, a chant or a prayer or saying the being's name over and over and over, or whatever resonates with oneself. However, for this channel, it was smoking weed and meditating on the name Isis over and over and over again. Again, Adama, calling me out there. But hey, if it works, right? Indeed, cannabis has a way of increasing our ability to perceive higher vibrational frequencies to a certain extent. So this may indeed aid one if they are struggling with connecting with their guides. However, please also note that one's imagination does severely increase when they engage in smoking cannabis. So be aware of this, and please please use your intuition in differentiating what is reality and what is your imagination. For as this channel is aware, they may indeed seem similar at times. For the vibrational frequency differences between the two are indeed subtle. But that being said, Goddess Isis wishes to work with every individual being on earth at this time, and she wishes to offer her initiations and her offerings to any being who feels drawn towards her. For as I have said, she is very benevolent and loving, and her goal, as is the goal of many beings on earth and around earth at this moment, is to love and to spread love. And so, as I have said, the only requirement to working with the goddess is to attempt, keyword attempt, to live from a place of love and light, and to experience and to express unconditional love and acceptance towards all, including oneself. But that being said, the lessons that the goddess has to teach us are the lessons of the higher and lower faculties. For the prerequisites for engaging in priestesshood or priesthood and the higher levels with Goddess Isis are processing all of one's trauma and clearing all of their karma. So one may be an initiate with the lowercase I while they still have unprocessed trauma and karma. However, they may not pass their first initiation until they have until they have released all of their negative karma and processed most of their trauma. However, this is for a good reason, and for more information on this reason, please listen to the channeling on the higher and the lower faculties. But the Goddess Isis's curriculum offers another path, or perhaps one of the paths that one may take to enlightenment. And there are many paths that one may choose, and one may walk many paths towards enlightenment in addition to that of the Goddess Isis. So, for example, this channel is walking the path of the Goddess Isis, but in the future, she may indeed begin to walk the paths of other higher beings as well, for thus is the nature of this incarnation for her. And her goal is to be able to achieve the highest form of enlightenment possible in this lifetime, on not only a conscious level, but also a soul level as well. So that being said, if one finds that they are already on the path of another deity, they need not worry about angering the goddess or the other deity with whom they are working by walking both of these paths at once. For if this other being is of the love and the light of our true Creator, then they will have no qualms in sharing the spotlight, shall we say, with the Goddess Isis. For indeed, all of the beings in the higher realms know that they may not teach one being everything there is to know about existence, and so there is value in variety in one's spiritual teachers. And this is why one does not have one sole spirit guide. This is why one has many spirit guides. And this is why one has many friends and many different family members. For variety is the spice of life. But that being said, that is about all that we have to say about the goddess and this path tonight. And as always, if one desires to learn more information about this path and about the goddess or the higher realms, one may always ask to visit us here in Telos, and I, Adama, will take you to Telos next time you sleep. But for more information on that, please listen to the channeling on the legend of Lemuria. But, as always, it has been a pleasure. Adieu.